Hello there. So, I want a robot, and I don't want to pay thousands of dollars for it. And I want it to be able to clean up socks and trash and laundry in my house. Because if a robot's going to do housework for me, it can't just stay in one place. But if it has to move around the house, then it has to step over everything. And that's that means locomotion, that means moving camera images. A mobile robot is just fundamentally expensive because there's a lot more degrees of freedom and problems to solve. But if the robot hangs from the ceiling, no problem. It doesn't touch the floor. It doesn't run into anything except, if you bump your head into it. And we can mostly make it hidden. Even, except for this big gaudy Aruco marker in the middle of the room. The motors that it hangs from and the spools that reel it around, it's a cable driven parallel robot, can be up there in the corners of the room where you can barely see them. And then the robot would come down, pick up something that it could see in the cameras that are mounted in the corners of the room, grab it, and drop it in a bin. And that would do 80% of my housework because when you think about it, we don't have to do all of it. We don't need a robot that can do anything like a human. We just need a robot that can do most of the work to save you time, kind of like your dishwasher. It just needs to be able to do a task that we spend a lot of time on, and a task that I spend a lot of time on, or at least, I would, is picking stuff up off the floor. So if we can pick up laundry and trash on the floor and drop it in the trash bin and the laundry bin, that's a useful appliance. And it shouldn't take very many motors, very many degrees of freedom, or all that much AI. And even if it does take a lot of AI, if you build the robot's mechanical parts, chances are next year, the year after that, we'll be able to throw a much better model at it, like Lay Robot or something that can solve more and more problems and make it more and more capable with time. So what I have here is a prototype of what I'm calling Stringman, which is a cable-driven parallel robot kit that costs about $600 or $700 as a kit, hopefully six, and about 1,100 as a fully assembled robot. And I hope to launch it in about a month on Tindy and Etsy. I'm test packing kits right now, basically. 4 closed loop stepper motors, 5 Raspberry Pis and camera modules, because there's one in the gripper too. It's got a rangefinder, camera, little limit switch on the top, IMU inside, and this finger has a sensor in it that detects pressure, so I can hold a grip of a given pressure. I can also use that sensor to determine whether it's picked anything up. So if it closes its fingers empty, then it knows that there's nothing that it's closed its fingers on, but if it grabs something, it knows. And the rangefinder and camera back that information up. So I've chosen not to put a battery in this because it saves weight and it makes it simpler. And I'm instead delivering the power to it by taking the motor, at least one of the motors, and reeling out wire from it. This is 30 gauge wire surrounded by PVC insulation with an outer diameter of about 2 millimeters. And this wire's okay. It can deliver the power to the anchor. There's no current problems at this gauge, really. It's just zipping current. And there's a slip ring over here that can transfer the power through to the spool. That works okay, but I've decided that there aren't any wire makers on the market that can make wire good enough. So what I'm experimenting with is the other 3 lines are fishing line, like 50-pound test fishing line, basically. Stuff is great. You can barely see it. It holds tons of weight, easy to wind up. But what I want to do is I want to take 30 gauge wire and twist it together with fishing line. Then I get a super strong wire. I get something that carries enough current for this robot, and hopefully, if I don't use red, is barely visible. So I'm working on a wire twister that can actually produce that. It's harder than it seems, actually. And this is just a prototype. It's not good enough because it's a single solid core wire, so it has memory. I need to use a stranded 30 gauge wire so it won't have memory and it'll bend more easily. But basically, getting the perfect wire is sort of what's holding up the prototype from being reassembled right now. And I hopefully, once it's reassembled, I can show some cool demos of it driving around, because I've spent a ton of time on the control program, which I'll hopefully show you guys in another video, that simulates the robot moving through the room, collects the images from the cameras, and puts it all together into motion commands. So hopefully I'll see you again soon, and maybe I'll get better at making YouTube videos. Later.